Okay, hey guys, you should have 30.4 notes in front of you. And we're going to talk about the crustaceans, which you are probably all very familiar with. It's a pretty short section, so we're going to summarize how crustaceans and insects are similar and dissimilar, because remember they're in the same group. And then we're going to describe the body plan of decapods specifically. So crustaceans are a bit like the insects of the sea because they're very abundant and there are so many different species. Many of them are microscopic and actually would drift in the ocean currents, and they are primarily marine, meaning, remember, they live in the sea, but we do have some that are found in freshwater and even some that are found on land or in terrestrial environments. But they include crabs, so it's up here, lobsters, crayfish, or crawdad, whatever you prefer. They include shrimp, barnacles, so this is going to be a mollusk that they're all living on, but these little nubs here are all barnacles. They include water fleas, these are the microscopic guys, and then pill bugs or sow bugs or roly-polies. They are all in the same phylum. Most crustaceans are going to have a distinct larval form called the nauplius, and it's also microscopic. It's going to have 3 pairs of branched appendages, and it undergoes a series of molts before it even looks anything like the adult form. There are a few species of crustaceans that have invaded the terrestrial habitat. Again, they live on land as opposed to the sea or freshwater. The most common are the pill bugs and the sow bugs. So they're both roly-polies. There's really no major difference. They live in the leafy ground litter in gardens and woods. So if you've ever been mowing or gardening and you pick up an old log or a rock, you're gonna see these guys scatter everywhere, and they belong to the group isopods. They are the only true terrestrial group. Another group are the sand fleas. These are here. They make great bait for fishing if you're ever on the ocean. All you have to do is dig a little bit and they will come up. There are thousands of species of these, but like I said, they're usually found in the sand of beaches. And then we do have a few species of land crabs, but they do live in damp areas, meaning they're only partly terrestrial. They do rely on water, and they're most active at night when the air is moist. Their larvae are going to live in the ocean until they're fully developed to look like a crab at first. That's why we can't say that they are truly terrestrial. Then crustaceans are a major food source for humans and some animals. So members of the order are quite small, so the microscopic ones I was talking about, the fairy shrimp, the water fleas again, and then ostracods and copepods. The most abundant multicellular organism on Earth is the copepod, and it is a key food source in the ocean chain. And then krill, last but not least, are going to swim in these huge swarms. They're part of the copepods, and they are the chief food source in the ocean. So again, going back to they're microscopic, they're very, very small and tiny, and therefore are a huge, immensely huge part of the food chain. And then the decapods specifically are going to be the large marine crustaceans such as lobsters, shrimp, and crabs, along with some of the crayfish or crawdads. They have 5 pairs of legs, and they are called decapods. They have a head and a thorax that are fused into a single cephalothorax. So cephala, C-E-P-H-A, stands for head, or means head in Latin, and then thorax is going to be that middle part of the body. So you're going to have the head, it's kind of this, under this part of the shell, and then the thorax is going to be this bigger part of the abdomen, and we combine them together, they are under one piece, so we call them the cephalothorax. The whole cephalothorax is covered by what's called a carapace. So it appears that it is in 2 pieces, but in fact it is one, and it is just a protective shield. If you've ever tried to crack through something like this, if you've ever gotten a whole lobster, you're going to know that it is very, 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 very tough and thick and hard to crack through. They also have an anterior pair of appendages that are modified into large pinchers. These are called chelipeds. So it's going to be this whole thing. Some call them claws, maybe. Not necessarily the exact terminology, but it is the cheliped or the pinchers. Then they're going to have swimmerettes located on the back. If you have ever ordered lobster, these are usually cut off. Like if you go to Red Lobster and get a lobster tail, the swimmerettes are cut off, but they're used in swimming and reproduction. And then they've got flattened paddle-like appendages called uropods on the back of the tail. These are definitely still attached if you've ever ordered lobster tail. There's 2 on each side. And then there's the telson, which is going to just finish out the back of the spine. When these 3 things are flexed, they're going to flex the entire tail, and that's going to help them propel through the water or to move through the water. And then we've got sessile crustaceans. Again, sessile means they don't move. It's a very, very small group of them. They have free-swimming larvae. So again, that benefit of spreading out, you don't have to compete for resources from your parents or your siblings or other people from your family. And they will attach themselves to a rock, a post, or some other submerged object where they remain forever. They have hard plates that can open and close to protect the body. And then when feeding, the barnacles are going to extend their jointed feeding appendages, or legs, through the open plates. So they almost look like hair or spider legs, kind of. But that's all of their feeding appendages, aka legs. And their feathery legs are going to stir the food from the water into their mouth. They are hermaphrodites, but again, we have to stress this. Will we ever release egg and sperm at the same time? The answer should be no. They will not fertilize their own eggs, but they are hermaphrodites. And then just to compare crustaceans and insects. So the nature of their appendages or what they look like. Crustaceans are going to be branched at one end. So they kind of have like toes. And then insects are not going to be branched. They're going to be more like walking on sticks or crutches. Crustaceans have 2 pairs of antennae, whereas insects have 1. In a crustacean, they're going to have 3 pairs of chewing appendages, where insects only have 1. Crustaceans are going to have their appendages located on the cephalothorax and the abdomen, whereas insects rarely have them on the head, but mostly on the abdomen. And then crustaceans breathe through gills, where insects breathe through a tracheal system. And so that is the end of 30.3. You should plan to take the quiz in a few days. You should have your review the day after this. I'm not really sure what day of the week this is for you guys, but I hope you're having a good one. And as always, if you have any questions, let me know.